Since you wrote the book, is there anything that has changed your perspective or that you would change about the book if you had the power to snap your fingers and edit it?
No, I've never been I've done, I think, over 54 podcasts. I've done a couple talks. I don't like doing talks in the beginning. Like they want you to go around and do all talks. Nothing where I've been stumped. I'm like, oh my gosh, I should change this, as a principle. Like, I think it's like very axiomatic. It's not like new. It's full life cycle hypothesis, like laid out, right? Like, have you guys heard of that? It's essentially income smoothing, about like basically, taking from your richer self in the future and giving to you now so that you have a more fulfilling life, etc. Two guys, I think they won a prize for it. So you can look it up. But
what is the life cycle hypothesis?
It's essentially it's basically income smoothing. Like when you're in your poorer self right now, you should be going to somewhat in debt, okay? Because your income is going to grow and you're going to be able to extinguish it in order to get the experiences you want to have now.
So it's essentially what you're...
Yeah, I didn't know about full life cycle hypothesis. I learned about it when I hired an economist when I wanted to make this program. And I was like, holy shit. It's like, to me, it was like a sign that like, I am thinking about this life problem correctly, right? Like if people discover the laws of physics, right? They didn't invent them, right? Like you discover a truth, right? And so I discovered a truth. I think, I have friends that are like, we want the 600-page version of this. We want, like, I didn't want to write it like a cookbook, like do this, do that, do this, do that. Like it's modeled a lot on Your Money, Your Life, where there's like exercises at the end or like suggestions at the end. So there's a couple suggestions at the end. But whenever I go give a talk, they're like, I want the cookbook. You know what I mean? I want more examples of how to do this, right? I want more examples to how to spend my money or how to save. I want more examples of annuities and things or how they work. I want more examples of granted annuity trusts or ways to transfer your money. Like a 600-page version will give people like kind of like what to do. But I didn't think most of the value is getting the concept, right? It's like just getting the concept, right? Once you get force equals mv squared, right? Then you do all kinds of wonderful things, right? Once you get E equals mc squared, you get satellites that get the timing right and all these other kind of things. So it's like really about getting the formula right and the concepts right, and then people can apply them individually as they see fit.
So where do you invest your own money?
I am not an example, right? Like I tell this people, like
like oil futures, and
I'm not a role model. I think I can be an inspiration, right? I make way too many mistakes to be a role model. Like, do not live my life. You are, but I think I can be an inspiration. You know what I mean? I think I can be inspiring. And so, I take maximum risk, right? Like most of my money is either tied up in my fund, right? Or the things I have. I have a lot of private placement too. Like I probably have way too much money in venture capital and private placement, right? Like, because now I'm like you say, like I'm a liquid. Like, what if I want to go here? I can't get the cash, right? And so that's generally where it is. And now I've actually put a needle scratch to all that because of my age. A lot of friends are like, oh yeah, and you're gonna make money in 10 years. I'm like, 10 years. Yeah, I'm trying to have a party now.
So do you have just cash on the side that you're like, this is my money that I don't touch, that is there for a rainy day if I absolutely need it, just in case?
I used to. I don't. Because I have houses and assets that I can liquidate in a fire sale. I mean, even if it's half, it's like, I'm okay. Right? I'm quite okay and quite planning to have a lot less money. Not right now, but like if it happens, it happens. I'm not ego attached to it.
It seems like this has been something that has been you for decades, though. I mean, just to be able to trade.
Yes. Like I've been trading.
Like that and take on that risk. I think your risk tolerance is probably 10 times higher than mine.
Yeah, it's very high. One of the things people say, like, what would you say to somebody in their 20s or 30s? Like, what advice do you give them? I say, in every area of your life, take the most risk you can possibly stand, and then add a little bit more.
So I guess here's my philosophy. I feel like you could take a ton of risk when it comes to your time and career, but then when it comes to your money and investments, you could play it safe there. And so that's like maybe a good balance where like, go gung-ho on like making as much money as you can, but then once you have it.
I would say take all that money and invest it in yourself. Go start the business that you have inside your head. That's the riskiest thing you could probably do, right? That's going to give you the most yield. I'd say the savings. But that's just me. Remember? That's just me. I mean, you can always go get a job, so you're not going to be broke. You will never be broke and he will never be broke because you can always go get a job. Some say, what's the safety for?
Do you have any advice for people who want to start their own business?
Make sure you're the type of guy that can be an entrepreneur and take the risk. I think a lot of people, it's romanticized a lot, and not everybody is cut out to do that. Maybe you're the guy that needs to get paid first, right? Not the entrepreneur that's dipping into his savings to pay the employees and do the vision, et cetera, that hold it and like do your best. Like a lot of people think an idea is the thing, and it's actually the execution. And I'm sure you're very well aware of that, right? Like podcast sounds like a great idea, but people don't realize like how much work goes into editing, getting the thumbnails, getting the guests, coordinating with the guests, running around, dealing with sponsors, not being too commercial so people turn out. Like just so much that goes into making this podcast entertaining and running it as a business than just like, I got a great idea, right? And so make sure you're that type of person and that you can take that risk.
How do you know if you're that type of person?
Yeah, I mean, you can develop it. Like, are you the type of person that's okay going busto for a bit or having to go back to work? I always like people like yourself that are like, you can easily get a 50, 60, 70, 80, 100,000, $200,000 a year job. Well, like you have no risk. There's no real financial risk. You only have ego risk,
It seems like the common thread between everything you're saying is just being hyper intentional.
Yes.
About everything.
You got the book. The book is about being intentional, living an intentional life. And there's a lot of other books out there that come at it from a different angle, right? They talk about different things about intentionality, being aware, being conscious, living a conscious life. But that is the whole book in a nutshell.
I'm in a lot of financial independence groups, and your book is the only one that's consistently mentioned, probably on a daily basis.
Yeah, like the FIRE guys, like there was a Mr. Money Mustache, right? Mm-hmm. Like he's one of the guys who read the book and like kind of shifted. And they always like have this like allergic reaction at first to the book, right? Because they're baptized in fire. Like I was baptized in fire. And like I just tell them like, what happens to the principal? Whatever, they're always like, I'm going to spend 3% of my, I'm like, what happens to the principal? So whatever you have of the principal, right? Like whether it's 1 million, 500,000, whatever, take the hours of your life that it took to build up that principal. That's a waste. You have to spend down the principal. The principal has to go too. And they're always like, you know what I mean? They freak out, right? Because they have this religious belief about this 3%, 4%, whatever rule they are that keeps them safe and living that life. And I'm like, the goal is fulfillment, not to have a nest egg. The goal is not the money. The goal is fulfillment. And the only way to use all your resources is to spend all the money, have great health, and be conscious about your life.